Welcome to Part 9. You've come a long way. We've talked about confidence, communication, thinking in English, conversation mastery, and professional communication. Now we're going to focus on a skill that many learners obsess over: vocabulary. But not in the way most people think. Because vocabulary isn't about knowing the most words. It's about knowing the right words. And more importantly, knowing how to use them naturally. Many learners spend years memorizing vocabulary lists. They learn hundreds of words, sometimes thousands. Yet when it's time to speak, they still struggle. Why? Because knowing a word and being able to use a word are two very different things. Imagine someone hands you a toolbox filled with expensive tools. If you don't know how to use them, the toolbox has limited value. Vocabulary works the same way. The goal is not collecting words. The goal is using words. Let's begin with a powerful principle. Learn vocabulary in context. Never learn a word alone if you can learn it inside a sentence. For example, instead of learning, opportunity, learn. This job offers a great opportunity for growth. Instead of learning, challenge, learn. One of the biggest challenges was managing time effectively. Context creates memory, and memory creates fluency. Now, let's talk about something advanced speakers do naturally. They learn vocabulary in families. For example, let's take the word decide. Decision, decisive, indecisive. Learning related words together strengthens your understanding and helps you communicate more flexibly. This method allows one word to become several useful tools. Now, let's discuss a secret used by fluent speakers: collocations. A collocation is a group of words that naturally go together. Native speakers use collocations constantly. For example, make a decision, take responsibility, gain experience, meet expectations, raise awareness, solve a problem. Notice something interesting. You don't usually do a decision. You make a decision. You don't generally create experience. You gain experience. These combinations sound natural because they're commonly used together. The more collocations you learn, the more natural your English becomes. Now, let's explore another important area: power words. These are words that instantly make communication stronger. Instead of saying good, try, effective, valuable, beneficial, impressive, useful. Instead of saying bad, try, inefficient, disappointing, challenging, problematic, unhelpful. More precise vocabulary creates more powerful communication. However, don't replace every simple word with a difficult one. Balance is important. Your goal is clarity and impact, not complexity. Now, let's discuss natural spoken English. Many learners sound too formal because they learn English primarily from textbooks. Real conversations often use different expressions. For example, instead of always saying, "I agree completely," you might hear, "Absolutely, exactly, that's true, you've got a point, couldn't agree more." Learning these natural responses helps conversations flow more smoothly. Now, let's talk about vocabulary retention. One of the biggest frustrations learners experience is forgetting words. Here's the truth. Forgetting is normal. Everyone forgets. The question is, how quickly can you reconnect with the vocabulary? A useful strategy is active recall. Instead of repeatedly reading words, test yourself. Cover the definition. Try to remember it. Create sentences. Use the word in conversation. The brain remembers information better when it works to retrieve it. Learning is important. Retrieval is essential. Now, let's discuss another advanced fluency skill: paraphrasing. Paraphrasing means expressing the same idea in different ways. For example, the meeting was productive. You could also say, the meeting was effective. The meeting achieved its goals. The discussion led to useful outcomes. The ability to paraphrase makes communication smoother because you don't depend on a single word. If one word disappears from memory, another option is available. This flexibility is a major sign of advanced fluency. Now, let's talk about descriptive language. Descriptive language makes communication more vivid. Imagine someone asks, "How was your trip?" Basic answer. It was good. Stronger answer. It was fascinating. I explored historical sites, met interesting people, and experienced a completely different culture. Which answer creates a stronger image? The second one. Details make language memorable. The next skill is vocabulary layering. Layering means adding depth to your explanations. For example, the project was difficult.
Can become.
The project was difficult because we faced tight deadlines, limited resources, and unexpected technical issues. More details create richer communication. And richer communication sounds more advanced. Now, let's discuss one of the biggest vocabulary mistakes learners make. Learning words they never use. Before investing time in a new word, ask, will I realistically use this word? Can I imagine using it in conversation? Can I create multiple examples with it? If the answer is yes, it's worth learning deeply. Useful vocabulary creates real progress. Now, let's move into another advanced topic. Vocabulary for opinions. Strong communicators know how to express opinions with confidence. Instead of always saying, I think,
Try.
I believe, in my view. From my perspective, it seems to me that one way to look at it is, these alternatives make your speech more varied and sophisticated. Now, let's discuss vocabulary for discussions. Imagine you're participating in a meeting or debate. These expressions can be extremely useful. That's an interesting point. I understand your perspective. Another factor to consider is, building on that idea, I'd like to add something. These phrases help conversations flow naturally. They also buy you time to organize your thoughts. Now, let's explore emotional vocabulary. Most learners know
Happy. Sat.
angry, excited, but advanced communication requires greater precision. Instead of happy, relieved, delighted, grateful, encouraged, optimistic. Instead of sad, disappointed, discouraged, heartbroken,
Concerned.
frustrated. The more accurately you express emotions, the more authentic your communication becomes. People connect through emotions, and emotional vocabulary helps create that connection. Now, let's talk about reading. Reading is one of the best ways to expand vocabulary naturally. But don't read only to understand. Read like a language detective. Notice patterns. Notice expressions. Notice transitions. Notice how ideas are connected. The goal isn't simply understanding content. Every article, book, or story contains lessons if you pay attention. Now, let's discuss one of the most powerful vocabulary habits. Personal vocabulary collection. Keep a notebook or digital document, but don't fill it with hundreds of random words. Collect useful words. Practical words. Words connected to your goals. Words you can actually use. Review them regularly. Use them in speaking. Use them in writing. Turn passive vocabulary into active vocabulary. That's where real growth happens. Now imagine yourself 6 months from now. You have a larger vocabulary, but more importantly, you use that vocabulary confidently. You express ideas more clearly. You participate in conversations more naturally. You explain opinions more effectively. You understand more of what you hear and read. That improvement doesn't happen through memorization alone. It happens through usage. The words you use become the words you keep. Before we finish this section, remember this powerful idea. Vocabulary is not a collection. Vocabulary is a tool. And tools become valuable when they are used. Use your English. Experiment with new words. Make mistakes. Try again. Stay curious. Stay consistent. And keep expanding your ability to communicate. Because communication is ultimately what language is for. In Part 10, we're going to explore real-life speaking challenges, spontaneous conversation skills, handling difficult situations, and the advanced habits that help speakers remain confident under pressure. I'll see you in Part 10.